intelligent talk that's sure to raise the IQ.
Here's Guy Wehman, Ben Brunson, and Frank Vernuccio inside the news.
Welcome back to the second segment of Inside the News. Glad that you are with us, and so much going on. Ben Brunson, Frank Vernuccio, myself, Guy Wehman. Ben, let's get right to it. And you wanted to talk about the vaccine, and this is the big kahuna here, because if this vaccine comes out before the election, it will impact the election. When that vaccine comes out, I believe more schools will open up. People will feel more free about their lives. Right now, the Akron Public School System says we're going to be totally online for the first 9 weeks. And this is in the state of Ohio, which is not one of the big surge states right now. It's not Texas, California, Florida. And so could this be the start? I don't know, but you know something about vaccines and how all of this stuff works. Ben, go.
I know a lot about clinical trials, having overseen over 1,000 of them. So let me talk a little bit about it. Vaccines are going to probably determine whether or not Donald Trump gets elected, because just the news of one or more working vaccines, I think, will have a very positive effect. And just as an aside, what we see from the left-stream media now is a concerted effort to play down what is very good news on the vaccine front. And it's not just one, it is about a dozen major companies, all progressing on the vaccine front. One, Moderna, has entered phase 3 trials. But I want to explain very briefly how vaccine trials are different from most therapeutic drugs. And this is important to know, because when you realize what I'm about to say, you realize how good the news is. The fact is that in most drugs, you begin phase 1 trials, you learn about safety, dosing ranges, how that drug interacts in the human body, and then you move on to efficacy trials, phase 2, and then broader phase 3 trials. And most drugs fail in phase 2 because they don't have efficacy. For vaccines, it's almost the opposite. You know in phase 1 if the drug does what it's designed to do, because a vaccine is designed to prompt an antibody response. And you know immediately, the first patient you dose, whether or not that vaccine prompts the desired antibody response. And then you find out over the course of phase 1 exactly the course of those antibodies over a typical person's cycle over the next coming weeks and months. Phase 2, you expand that. In phase 3, you're really studying in a vaccine trial the side effects of a vaccine, not whether or not it works, because you know early on if it works. And what you do is study the side effects and whether they're unacceptable side effects. Some vaccines will create migraines in half the people who take the vaccine, and that would be unacceptable. That would be a failed vaccine. So they look for that. The news that all of these vaccine trials are moving into phase 2, and in the case of Moderna phase 3 trials, is very positive. It means they all do what they're intended to do. If it doesn't, you kill that drug and that vaccine in phase 1. So this is very positive news. We're on the verge of one or more, probably several companies, and these are major companies like Pfizer and AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson and Merck, Regeneron. They all have vaccines that are moving rapidly through the process. So we're on the verge of working vaccines, and this is great news. And yet, I'm listening to CNBC this week talk down vaccine trials as if people are overexcited and this is being overhyped. That's nonsense. This is great news.
You know, Frank, it was about maybe 3 or 4, maybe it was about a month or so ago when Donald Trump came on out and he introduced Operation Warp Speed. Now, at the time, people said, what is warp speed? What does all this mean? What it means is exactly what Ben was talking about, that with these trials, it enabled these pharmaceutical companies to produce the vaccine in the millions of doses, so that when this does prove to be effective and works, they've got the dosage available then and now because of Operation Warp Speed. Donald Trump doesn't even get credit for that, does he, Frank?
No, he doesn't. We are seeing something so unique in the United States. We are seeing, rather than two approaches to solving a problem, we are seeing one of the two major political parties doing everything it can to prevent the solution to a problem in order to regain power in the November elections. It is an act of political harm unlike anything we've seen before in American politics.
You know, I don't even know if it's political harm here, because what they're trying to do is actually harm the American people. They don't care if people die, Frank. And the political part, they don't even, they just want in the White House because there's money. There's all kinds of things that happen once they're in there. They don't care about the people of the United States.
And I think you're bringing up an important point. One of the things that made Donald Trump so unique and so hated by the Washington insiders is that he really upset the gravy train. Look, when you look, for example, at Vice President Joe Biden going to Ukraine, going to China, taking his son aboard Air Force Two, the son, a drug addict or basically a ne'er-do-well, comes back with $1.5 billion deal from China with absolutely no skills, providing nothing with no service. And then you start looking at other Washington politicians, frankly, of both parties, who have made a fortune in the same manner. In comes the bull in the china shop, Donald Trump, who says we're going to stop this. He's made his money. He's not making it from illicit deals with foreign enemies. His money has come from the capitalist system. He is the bull in the china shop that certain politicians on both sides want to get rid of as quickly as possible. That accounts for the vehemence against this president that we've not seen against any other leader in American history.
Okay, Ben, just kind of tee us up here on schools in the next 60 seconds. Go.
Well, look, on this entire theme, where we have gotten to is a complete abandonment of the science and reality. We know a ton about COVID-19. We know who it impacts and who it doesn't. And we know that young people and young, healthy people, the younger and healthier you are, the more this is essentially no different whatsoever than the common flu. I find it comical that sports teams get paranoid because a handful of their athletes who are in prime condition, 20-something-year-olds, come down with COVID-19. They're all going to be fine. And the overreaction is just out of control. To Frank's point, this is all about shutting down our economy and trying to get Biden elected. And the science be damned at this point.
All right, this is Inside the News. We are glad that you are with us, and you're watching us on AUN TV. You can find them at aun-tv.com. Visit our website, itnradio.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to Wehman, Brunson, and Vernuccio, Inside the News.